All right, we're back on the mimer, continuing in the mimer, Baruch HaGomel, that the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe said in 1927 when he arrived in the city of his exile. And his death sentence had been removed from him, and he was sent to exile. He said this mimer. Gadol Havaya, the greatness of God, is what it says, Ma Rabu Masecho Hashem. How many things you create, God. You create constantly. Everything is an amazing miracle. This riboy, this tremendous multitude of things that God creates, Zeu Nimshach B'Shem Elohim. This comes from the name of God, Elohim, plural name. The ability of God to make a multitude of things. Lochen, therefore, Shem Elohim is plural. Like it says, Elohim Kadoshim. Like it says, holy gods. Now we know that God is one. That's the message of Judaism, that there's nothing but God. But Elohim is the tool that God uses to create the world. Liot ki riboy nimshach b'shem Elohim, because this ability of God to make himself a lot, multitude, to create a world that there's a myriads of things, and so different, that everything is different from each other. This comes from an aspect of God which is called Elohim. We say Elohim, but we're not, in regular, when possible, we don't say God's name, so Elohim. And by means of this, last word in the line is Nira. First word in the line, Gedolas Hashem. By means of this, you can see the greatness of God. Liot bechinas riboy and ivroim. When you see how many things there are, then you're amazed. I mean, God is really creating this? Either yes or not. Right? He's not. No, he's not. This is just nature creating it. Okay, but maybe it's God creating it. It's God creating it. This is just insane. You know, God is creating all these things. And then you think, yeah, it's true. It's really true. This is just beautiful. This is amazing. This is astounding. Right? This is the God that I'm praying to. It's worthwhile. Right? That's one aspect of God, just that he creates all the world. Another aspect of God is he listens to our prayers. It's one of the 13 principles of Jewish faith. He listens to our prayers and he answers our prayers. And according to Kabbalah, according to Chassidut, he reacts to our prayers. Kamo sha'anu roim, according to what we see, sheyesh riboy medregos vesugim bedomim. There are many levels of rocks, minerals. Kamo avanim apshutim, simple stones. Ad avanim tovos, until you have precious stones, umiiros, and shining stones. Ulamayla mihem, and above them, avanim ba'ale sgula. You ever heard of this? There's stones that have actually, what do you call it, healing properties. There's people that deal with this. There's healers. Huh?
Marble does this one.
Marble?
Yes.
Oh, marble is one of them? Could be. There's crystals. There's people that deal with crystals, right? The person is sick, they take a crystal, they put it where the sickness is, or they put it around his head. Yeah. I knew somebody that was very into that. A serious person. Who was really into it. Here the Rebbe says there's stones that are sgula. Sgula means that they help a person. They help a person. Bam. V'hatzlacha. And they bring good luck. They bring success. Stones. Huh? I would like a stone like that. I don't have it. V'chein betzomeach chai u'medaber. And also the same thing with plants. How many myriads, millions and millions of types of plants there are. And animals. Animals, people they're really into collecting moths, butterflies. You ever see people like this? They have huge collections, hundreds, thousands of beetles. Medaber, humans. Every human is different from every other human. And every human is tremendously complicated. Right, with a personality and nervous system and circulatory system. Every animal also has it. But a human being is even more amazing. How it all works together, that human beings can create things and make things. And this is all being created by God every instant. Similarly, it is also when you think about, this is what we do when we pray. We think about above. See where we are? First word in the line is Lamaila. In the world of the angels. Machana Mechoil, the camp of Michael. Mechoil, the camp of Gabriel. Shehem, that they are, Baribo Yatsum, with a tremendous number of angels. Could be that there's more angels that there are creations in the physical world. Because it says the angels divide and subdivide and subdivide and subdivide and subdivide. And each one, there's an infinite number. Here you'll see. Kamaimer machana mechoil, like it says, the camp of angels, of the angel mechoil. That's usually the side of chesed, the side of God's right arm. Kuf Pei Vav, 186,000 camps. V'kativ Aleph Alefim Mishamshuni. And it says that there are thousands of thousands that serve me. V'riba Ravavon, and 10,000s of 10,000s Kadmuni are before Kadmuhi, are before him. And this is in each camp. In each camp there are thousands of thousands and millions of angels, or 10,000s of 10,000s, hundreds of millions of angels. V'zeu gedud echad, that's just one camp. Ula gedudav, how many camps of angels are there? Ein mispar, infinite numbers. So obviously there are more angels than there are different blades of grass, or, all these things are limited. There's a limited number of blades of grass and a limited number of grains of sand. What do you say, Zachariah?
I would say the grades of, there's a limited amount of countries, but there's no limited amounts of grains of sand. But the countries, that's limited. You can count all the countries.
You can't count all the countries?
The people, you can't count the angels, you can't count the sand, you can't count the stars.
Theoretically, you could count all the grains of sand in the world. The world is a limited place, and a grain of sand has a limited size. They can't get too small, or there wouldn't be a grain of sand. So theoretically, you could count the number of grains of sand. Don't do it. Don't do it. I don't advise you to do it, unless you're just really, really bored. Really bored. You have nothing to do. But don't try it, because you'll never. It's never end. And personally, you can if they just stand still.
But it doesn't matter. You have to go through.
Right.
Cards, you can't do it. It's undoable. It's a waste of time.
In any case, the number of angels, it says here in the Torah, is truly unlimited. You have a point. I was in India, and I was in a city in India called Gokarna, and I asked people, how many people live here in the city? It was a city outside, like in the woods and by the sea. So they said something between 2,000 and 200,000. There's people live in the jungle, so they didn't really know how many people are living there. So you've got a point. That's what it means. It says to the camps, there are an unlimited number of camps of angels. Isaiah saw them. Yechezkel saw them. All of these angels are amazing. It says that one angel is a third of the size of the universe. Some say 3 times the size of the universe. What that means, angels are not physical. So angels are pretty amazing.
So if angels are said to be
unlimited.
Well, no, they're the size of the universe.
1/3.
1/3?
Yeah.
Then how big is the universe?
So the universe is also unlimited. But you have to remember, angels, this is what it says in the Gemara. It's just trying to tell us how great an angel is. Right? So the universe, theoretically, is limited. I guess you have to say it's limited. I can't imagine how. They say that Einstein has this thing that it turns back on itself or something. I never read it. But theoretically, it has to be limited in some way. I guess. Yes, but even if it's not, for sure the universe is. But that's only the physical universe. We have the spiritual universe. And it says that the spiritual universe, the angels, that's just a connection between this world, the world of Asiya, and the world which is above it, which is the world of Yetzirah. That's a whole different type of angels. There's a different type of angels in Yetzirah. And then there's the world, and all these worlds are infinitely greater, if you want to call it, another dimension of reality than the dimension below it. It's like watching a movie and seeing something real in real life. Right? You're watching a movie, there's people up there, but the people are one-dimensional people. Or two-dimensional, what do you want to call it? Two-dimensional people. But human beings are real human beings. It's a whole different world. The same thing as the spiritual worlds. The higher the world, the more real it is. In this world, we're living in a one-dimensional world. In regard to God, we don't see. Says the Rebbe, you want a little glimpse of God? Just think about how many creations there are. Look and see. Could you do a thing like that? Right? Could you even approach? He says that's only the physical world. In the spiritual worlds, which we see that, like we say, Isaiah, Ezekiel, they attested to these spiritual worlds. It says there is unlimited numbers of camps of angels. And in every camp there are hundreds of millions of angels. All this multitude, Nimshach, comes Mishem Elohim. It comes from the name Elohim. This is just the aspect, the creative force of God. It's not God himself. Now again, I have to remind everybody, this is faith. This is Jewish faith. Right? You're not going to prove it. You can't see God with a testing and with a telescope or a microscope or a testing tube or whatever it is. You can't. Right? God is creating us. He's creating all this. This is Jewish emunah. It's faith. Faith is a sense, like you can't see things with your ears. You can't taste things with your eyes. Well, you can't perceive God with any of your mind, with your intelligence. Your perceiving God can only come through faith. But that faith can be drawn into intelligence. There's a commandment in the Torah to ask as many questions as possible. You have to understand whatever you can. And you can understand a lot more than you think. That's the idea of Chassidut. And when we do understand, so we can get emotional about God. It's a commandment to love God. It's a commandment to be emotional about God. It's a commandment to love God. It's wonderful to learn His Torah and do His commandments, to be a religious person, but there's a commandment to actually love God. Love is a thing you can't command. It has to come from inside. It has to be genuine. It has to be genuine. No one can love God for you. Every Jew has a commandment to love God. According to some opinions, every human being. All of this, one of the ways to begin is just think about the the multitude, the diversity of creation. They say that after the prayers of Yom Kippur, that how was it? That the son, I think, of the Mendel Rebbe, I can't remember, one of the Rebbes, his son asked his son, what were you thinking about prayer when you prayed? And he said, I was thinking about these upper worlds, the world, how it is that Erech Anpin comes into Atik Yomin comes into Erech Anpin, and the different levels of it. And he asked his father, what were you thinking about? He says, I was thinking about the table that was in front of me. The stender, he says, how it's made up of so many molecules, and all these are creations by God. How God can make creations from nothing, molecules, atoms, how He does it. Incredible. And the interaction between everything. Interactions between things. Why is it that this table is in my room? Shehu Makar Hischalkus Otiot Adibur. This name Elohim, this is the source of the division of the letters of God's speech. The name Elohim. That's the source of God's speech that creates the world constantly. Okay, what does this give us when we think about this? It gives us awe. It gives us thanks, gratitude. Like I said before in the previous class, that's the essence of a Jew is gratitude. Yehudi comes from the language of hodaya. To be grateful to God. To be positive. It gives us a sense of gratefulness and positivity. When God gave us the Torah, that gives us a certain sense of responsibility. We'll talk about this. Hine, Kativ, it is written. But Davar, first word in line is Davar. Davar Hashem. Hine Kativ, behold, it is written. But Davar Hashem, with the word of God, Shamayim Nasu, the heavens were made. V'dibur zeh, and this speech of God, Bo baribu yischalkus. It comes articulated in many divisions. Otiot adibur, of letters of speech. Bechalufim v'temurot, in permeations, combinations of letters. And exchanging letters. And that's a lot of the Kabbalah in Chassidut, Chabad. We don't deal with this very much, a little bit. But in the Kabbalah of the Arizal, for instance, a tremendous amount is done on the letters, and especially the book that's called the Sefer Yetzirah. There it explains what the letters are. But gematrias and things like that, it's very, very interesting, very amazing, very interesting. It says they're called parparos l'chachma. It says in Pirkei Avos, gematrios, the numbers and permeations and this word is the same numerical value as this word, and the etymologies, the sources of the words. Chalufim de chalufim, but we have to remember that besides being very interesting, looking at it, these letters are the source of the world. These letters are the source of the world. There was a great rabbi, his name was Rabbi Weiss Mendel. You ever heard of Rabbi Weiss Mendel? Rabbi Weiss Mendel was one of the first people to escape from Auschwitz. He escaped from he was a great rabbi, great, tremendous mind. And I think it was Hungary. And he escaped Hungary, maybe Romania. Anyway, I don't know. But anyway, maybe it was even Poland. You'll have to look up his history. Anyway, he was one of the first to escape. I think it was even in 41 he escaped. And he went around and tried to tell people about the Holocaust. Nobody wanted to listen, and he gathered money, and people. It was tremendously frustrating life. But he was an expert at Torah codes, not Kabbalah. We're not talking about Kabbalah. Just finding codes in the Torah, right? How this word and that word, and every fifth letter, you take every fifth letter, and it was a genius. It was a genius. He had a mind, a tremendous talent for this. And he said, this doesn't prove God exists. It's just very, very interesting. It shows that amazing wisdom that's in the Torah, that the Torah cannot be taken lightly. So that's just Kabbalah on a very simple pshat level. That's gematria, numbers of letters. But then if you go into the ideas in a Kabbalistic way, in a deeper way, it's tremendous. And here he's saying that the world is actually created from these letters. It says in the Sefer, in the Gemara, it says that the Chachamim, they were able to they knew how to use the letters of the Torah according to the book, the Sefer Yetzirah, the book of formation. And it says they were able to make things, that they made a cow, a calf, and they ate it. It says that Yosef's brothers made a calf. In the Torah, they made a calf. Right, that's what he saw them eating, a limb from a living animal. Anyway, these letters are the powers of creation. V'tamoros, v'riboy tzurufim, and many, many combinations by the name of Shem Elohim. Last word in line is Elokeinu. Lochen, therefore, we say Gadol Hashem. When is God great? Be'ir Elokeinu, when he is in the city of our God. Emotayu Gadol, when he is big. Keshu Be'ir Elokeinu, when he is the city of God. And what is the city of God? Huh? No. Not listening. What is the city of God?
The world.
Very good. Zachariah got it. The city of...
Jerusalem.
That's right. This very excellent. The city of God is the whole entire creation. Why is it called the city of God?
Because God created all the countries from America to Britain.
This one you got wrong. Why is it called the city of God?
Why?
Because a city is made up of bricks, and the bricks make up houses, and the houses make up a city. The same thing, the world is made from God's letters, and these letters are the bricks of creation. And these letters go together to make words. Those are the words of creation. And when you put all these words together, it makes the city. And therefore, the whole universe is made from the letters and the words of God, the speech of God. Therefore, it is called the city of God.
But
Good?
Isn't every city, every county, every small town made by God?
Yes, but here we're saying even more, that the whole entire universe, with all the angels, with all the bugs, with all the plants, with all the rocks, with all the diversity in the world, everything is being created by God constantly. And this is not from the essence of God. This comes from the tool that God uses. It's called the name Elohim, or in a simple language, God's speech.
But doesn't God create everything, the land? And
Yes, he does. Yes, that's what we're talking about. So when you think about this, that God is really creating this right now, and this right now, He's creating everything right now, it gives you a sense of awe. Good?
Yeah.
And that's what you're supposed to think about before you daven in the morning. Very good. And in the afternoon also, just a little bit. Any thought that you can to think realistically about what God is, and this is one of the first ones. The world is being created by God. God wants the world to be here. A lot of the other religions, maybe all of them, they say that the world is just a big fake out. The world is just a big place of lies and deceit, which is true. But it is being created by God not to fool us and to trick us into this. is being created by God so that we should take away the lies. We should reveal the truth. And one of the ways of doing it is by thinking that God is creating everything. In our head. Our head becomes the Holy of Holies. God's presence is there. Let's take a